Our ferry, the Wenatchee, pulls out of the Seattle dock headed for Bainbridge Island. Soon we can see the downtown Seattle skyline in the distance. It's a glorious day, this May Day, and we seem to be sailing on crystal waters. Bainbridge Island is located in the Puget Sound Basin, east of the Kitsap Peninsula and west of Seattle. With 53 miles of shoreline, the island is about 5 miles wide and 10 miles long, making it one of the largest islands in the Puget Sound. We approach the Bainbridge Island ferry terminal, and soon we'll start our visit to this beautiful island. Today we're on Bainbridge Island, just across the Puget Sound from downtown Seattle. We're exploring the Bloedel Reserve, a 150-acre estate garden created by Prentice Bloedel and his wife Virginia in 1950. The main entry house echoes the French chateau style of the main residence. In the west meadow, where the Bloedels once kept a flock of sheep, a trail leads away from the entry towards the woods. Suddenly, a deer leaps across our path and into the forest, looking for lunch. The bird refuge features a large pond that provides a year-round home for ducks, geese, and a beaver. Migratory ducks spend winters here, and kingfishers and great blue herons feast on insects, frogs, and fish. The shoreline is ringed with azaleas, viburnums, dogwoods, and alders. In the woods, the trestle bridge gives you a bird's-eye view of the forest floor and a stream. A boardwalk across the forest wetlands allows you to enter a bog filled with chorusing frogs and carnivorous plants. Crafted by Seattle landscape designer Fujitaro Kubota, the elegant landscape of the Japanese garden offers subtly shifting views along its meandering paths. The Zen Garden was designed by Koichi Kawana, a professor of landscape architecture at the University of California. The coniferous trees surrounding the garden provide a dark backdrop for the bold colors of Japanese maples and meticulously pruned pines and flowering trees. We go from the deep woods into a formal European landscape accented by lakes, towering English elms, and a stately weeping willow with a dramatic view of the Bloedel's former residence. This French country-style home was the Bloedel's former residence. It's now the visitor center for the reserve. The central room, with portraits of the Bloedels hanging prominently on the walls, houses a cozy library with a collection of 1,400 horticulture and botanical books. The dining room, with a grand table and chandelier, has a small 1950s-era kitchen off the side. The living room features a grand piano, and we're treated to an impromptu concert by a young traveler and his friends. The back of the home commands a view of Puget Sound's Port Madison Bay near Agate Pass. The panoramic view to the northeast encompasses Puget Sound, Jefferson Point, and the Cascade Mountains. At the north side of the visitor center, down a large stone stairway, there's a beautiful waterfall overlook that yields views across a small canyon painted with enormous rhododendrons and spring flowering shrubs. A trail to the right leads back into the deep woods of the Glen and the Birch Garden. In the moss garden, with its dense living carpet, wiry huckleberries spring from decaying stumps, and huge skunk cabbages crowd the dampest places under a canopy of lacy angelica trees. A brightly colored woodpecker is fast at work on one of the old fallen trees. There are old fallen trees everywhere, covered with a dense carpet of moss and lichens. The path from the moss garden leads into the reflection pool. Earth, sky, trees, and water combine in simple harmony to create the reflection pool, a place of quiet contemplation. The pool and hedge tame the forest with geometric precision, and the mirror-like pool invites you to sit and rest for a while. The Bainbridge Island Historical Museum showcases its unique island story in this renovated 1908 schoolhouse. We're here to see some of the exhibits, including the new multimedia exhibit called An Island Story, which was awarded the Muse Award for Creative Technology in 2008. In 1971, the Bainbridge Island School District donated this old schoolhouse to the Society for use as a museum. The new permanent exhibit at the museum is titled An Island Story, A Voyage Through Bainbridge History, which opened in 2007. The exhibit includes images and information about Native Americans, explorers, mill towns, early shipbuilding, steamer transportation, farming, World War II, and the internment of Japanese Americans and schools around Bainbridge Island. This exhibit of photographs traces the experience of Americans of Japanese ancestry on Bainbridge Island from 1883 to 1983. Reed Hansen, one of the museum directors, interprets for us.
The mill, when the Japanese first came to Bainbridge to work, they had their own town right down by the mill.
Barbara Hansen runs the gift shop. In the museum front courtyard sits a large steel tank from the former Wyckoff creosote plant that was used to treat lumber for railway ties.